In our first video, we figured out how to click on a particular cell in our puzzle, and we've created tabs, right cell vals, left cell vals, up cell vals, down cell vals, which keeps track of the value in those adjacent cells for all of these cells in our puzzle should those adjacent cells exist. And they're logged for us on different sheets so we can access them rather quickly. In this video, what we're going to do is check to see if we're in a position of having exactly one cell adjacent to us not filled in with 3 cells adjacent to us filled in. And we do have different cases to consider for corner cells, edge cells, and interior cells regarding the number of adjacent cells. So right now we're going to focus on these interior cells, and what I'm going to leave intact for you when I put this online is a special sheet that handles the border cases. So if I think about having a cell right here, and think about being in a position where there's only one adjacent cell remaining, there are 4 choices for which one adjacent cell is remaining: the left cell, the right cell, the up cell, or the down cell. And so what we need to do is create 4 more sheets that I've labeled UDR, UDL, LRU, and LRD, representing those directions. So something like the LRU tab is representing we're going to put a true-false value into this spot of the LRU file. And what we're going to put there is true if the left cell, right cell, and up cell are occupied, but the down cell is available. And then for those other 3 tabs, it's going to be similar. So UDL would stand for the up cell is occupied, the down cell is occupied, and the left cell is occupied, but the right cell is unoccupied. So what we need to do, if we click over here on LRU, we'll only be filling in B2 through H8, leaving that border for a special tab called Border Bool that I've filled in. So in the LRU tab, we'll only be filling in B2 through H8 since those are the cells that have 4 adjacent cells. And what we want to do is use these sheets that we've just created, right cell vals, left cell vals, up cell vals, and down cell vals. And what we want to check is, first of all, is it the case that the left cell, the right cell, and the up cell have values in them? So remember that we put a 0 value into the corresponding sheets if a cell was unoccupied. So what we want to check is it the case that when I go to the cell B2 in the sheet left cell values, I have anything other than 0? That's going to mean that left cell is occupied. But that's not enough. What I need is for this cell to be occupied, this cell to be occupied, this cell to be occupied, and this cell to be unoccupied. So over here, I'm just going to do a little bit of a sample to get you started. If I wanted to know just if the left cell was occupied, what I could type in is if, now I want to go to the sheet left cell vals, and I want to access what's in the B2 spot there. So go to cell B2 of sheet left cell values. And what I would like to check is this anything other than 0? So in Excel, if you want to check if something is not equal to a particular value, you use a less than and a greater than sign in succession to mean not equal to 0. If I go to the sheet left cell vals and the entry in cell B2 is anything other than 0, then I want to fill this cell with true. And if not, I want to fill this cell with false. I hit enter, and it goes ahead and it does that. So the fact that I have a false here means that if I go to left cell values and look at cell B2, I should have something that's equal to 0. Let's check that. And left cell values of B2 is empty. So yes, it does have a value that's equal to 0. So that's one example of the way in which we're going to use this. But what we would really like to do is, this is just part of what we need to check. This is checking if the left cell value is 0 or not. we need to check if the left cell value is 0 or not, the right cell value is 0 or not, the up cell value is 0 or not, and if the down cell value is 0 or not. And what we want is we want the answer to 3 of these to be true. The left, the right, and the up. We want those values to be true, and because we want to make sure that then that down cell is blank, we want that one to be false. What we want to do now is join all of those 4 criteria inside of an AND statement. We want all 4 of those statements to be true at the same time, and the Excel command for that is AND. So joined with ANDs are a whole bunch of logical statements that we want. The first of which is the left cell value at this position not equal to 0? That will mean the left cell is occupied. The second condition is we want right cell vals at cell B2 to also be non-zero. And then the up part is we want up cell vals at cell B2 to not be equal to 0. And last but not least, to indicate that the down cell is in fact available, we also want down cell vals at cell B2 to just be equal to 0. Now this is where it gets a little bit frustrating to learn multiple programming languages at once. Some programming languages use 2 equal signs to check for equality and a single equal sign to attribute equality. Excel just uses a single equals to check for equality here. So this is the right syntax that we want. And that's the end of the AND statement. We're checking 4 things. Left cell is occupied, right cell is occupied, up cell is occupied, and the down cell is unoccupied. When all 4 of those things are true, then we are in a left, right, up scenario, and we want to fill the value of this cell with true. But if any of those things are violated, we're not in a left, right, up scenario, and we want to put a false in this particular sheet. And that should be the end of what we want to put in this clause. We hit enter, and everything works syntactically. And just as before, we're going to drag this formula all throughout the cells that we care about and put values in here. Now, as you saw before, my left cell, right cell, up cell values have not had formulas input in them because this is something that you have to do for homework, but we should hope that some of these should switch to true as we're going along and filling out the puzzle.